Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Kare-ing Conversations. I'm your host, Rachel Hill, here with Foresight, joined as always, by the amazing Jordan Evans of Care. And we are laughing because we were just talking about superhero shows off air here. We always have a little pre-show banter, and today was pop culture. We're talking about superhero shows. And this is a perfect segue because this episode, this is special. This is just me and you, buddy. We are having a conversation. You've had so many amazing guests that you've booked for us, but this is just me and you. And Jordan, we're talking about how Care came to the rescue. They threw on that orange cape and came to the rescue. So what am I talking about? What happened? Tell me the story.
Well, let me just stop with a disclaimer. I hate branded shows where we're only taught like this is not an infomercial. So please let me just start with this is not an infomercial. This is a cool thing that I find just amazing about people's utilization of a tool because that's what Care is. Care is a tool. I mean, you can utilize Uber in different ways. You can utilize Care in different ways. So, I mean, it's really awesome. Disclaimer, this is not an infomercial. So what we're talking about today, let's start with the problem and why even we have a Care, why this is even a thing.
Yeah.
We have a staffing problem.
No.
Yeah. No, we do.
Talking about.
We do. I mean, with 60% of nursing homes in the country not accepting new residents due to staffing shortages, with our president making mandates around staffing ratios, we know that we have a staffing issue. It's clear, it's blatant, and no one really seems to have like some clear-cut solutions. Prescriptive solutions on how to solve that.
Because you went there. You're not going any further, but
no, stop.
You can't even say it. All right, it's the word we shall not say. I won't say.
And so the solution that we often lean on, even though it is the wrong solution, and there's things beeping in the background, even though it's the wrong solution, is staffing agencies. Like that's usually just what we lean on instinctively.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with staffing agencies, as we know the CARE's big slogan, staffing agencies suck. But why do staffing agencies suck? I mean, if it's such a clear-cut solution that we all just lean on, why do they suck?
Right. And Jordan, I want to pause right here because that's such an interesting point, and I not to put you too much on the spot, but I want to hear and just kind of backtrack because we haven't covered this a ton. We did in earlier episodes, but what would you say sets Care apart from a staffing agency? I always think it's so important to reinforce that.
So I think it's perfectly leading into why staffing agencies suck. So the way that the traditional staffing agency works is you need help.
Yeah.
And so you bring on this temporary staff person that is lent to you from another person, from another agency, from another company. And that's usually your traditional staffing agency. So this person comes in, they're working. The problem with this, well, let's just continue with how it works, and then we'll talk about the problems with it.
Perfect.
So how it works is they come in, they work, they help your residents with their ADLs. They might help with charting. They only help with really the tasks of the day or the tasks of the week. Because any long-term planning or any long-term thing inside of your organization really is not fiscally responsible to put them into your care plan with your resident or even to really building a relationship with them because they cost a lot of money.
Right.
So agency staff can cost more than 30% of a company's or an organization or a community's per diem or part-time staff. I've heard from our wonderful growth team these horror stories of people $70 an hour for a CNA and $50 an hour for a CNA. And the problem is, here's the problem with that. It's the CNA is not getting $50 to $70 an hour. The CNA would be getting like 20, maybe 25, because they are traveling, they're working elsewhere. But the company is getting the larger percentage of that. And that 2025 is really only COVID numbers. I mean, most times people would get $15 to $20 an hour as an agency person,
Right.
depending on where you live in the country. But that is extremely high. I mean, as far as percentage, as far as proportion of what you get paid and then what the agency gets paid to just manage this relationship it's like your agent. It's like when we hear about musicians and their agents getting like all this money, and then at the end of the day, like the artists themselves really don't get much money. And that's actually the same way in senior living when we have this agency relationship. Is the artist, the person who is helping, coming in and doing these things, the worker is really only getting a small percentage of what we're just paying the agency. So that is why the whole agency relationship sucks. Here's why agencies suck. So let's say you get in, this person's building a relationship with your residents, this person's building a relationship with your staff, like they're coming in and helping.
Right.
And they're a good cultural fit. And you have a contract with their agency. And so you go, I want to hire them. Well, that's awesome. It'll cost you about $5,000 to hire them.
Hold on.
Well, because hold on. I mean, we told you that they were going to come to you for a contracted period. And so if you want to take them on, you have to buy out the rest of their contract. So, I told you could have them for 30 days. This is day 2. You really like them. That's awesome. I love that. Buy out the rest of those 28 days, and then we'll call it even like that. So then we having KARE. KARE comes in, and KARE, we have great low staffing prices. We have great rates. We have great rates as far as what we get paid, and then you set your own rate as far as a community on what you can afford to pay. And then on the other hand, if you really like that person, you can just hire them. And so we talk a lot about the great, you set your own rate, you hire, but we don't really talk much about, that process of someone even using us as just a recruiting tool. So let's talk about Paige Hatcher, who is at AL in Lanier Village. And I'm not calling anybody out. We have a link to this article, and in the comments, we'll post it in there. You can check it out. So we meet Paige Hatcher, who is director of AL at Lanier Village. Now, we just said all the stuff about set your own pay rates, yada, yada, yada. But right. She hired 3 people through KARE. Now, I love this. She had them come in. She had them work. She got to know these people. She tried them on a little bit. They went on a few, and so then she said, well, let's would you like to come work here? What it makes me think about is I've been watching this stupid show. But
by stupid you mean amazing?
Yeah, sure. That's what I mean. Love is blind. And we're gonna get sued for saying this, but
Netflix, don't come for us.
If you want, I've been watching Love is Blind. I've been watching that, and interestingly enough, they've had 4 seasons, only 3 couples, spoiler alert, only 3 couples are still married, today. So the rest have just gotten divorced at some point. And the traditional recruiting method reminds me of the Love is Blind. And as we watched from Love is Blind, is it doesn't work. Like you talk on the phone a few times, you talk to this blind thing, you've never seen them, you don't know what they look like, you don't know how they and then like you propose to them, still not seeing them. Maybe you might have seen them once. We've been talking a bit, and so I think even though I haven't met you, I haven't seen you, I think we're ready to go to the next level. And so then, like the first time they meet each other is this like proposal, and the same thing happens. Like especially like during COVID, no one was coming in for interviews. And you had a lot of like virtual interviews over camera. And look, I do this show every week. I come across looking super nice and professional, and people at my job are like,
y'all, let me tell you what Jordan is really like. I'm going to reveal on air right now. I'm going to tell you the real Jordan Evans. He is the nicest person I've ever met.
I'm really not. I'm from the East Coast. I'm really not that nice. So you have this like, and then the first time you meet him, you're already engaged. You're already in this. So with KARE, you can go on a few dates.
And we're talking about one of the biggest tasks out there, caring for our residents. Like this is not something to be handled lightly. And I'm not saying that anyone in charge of a building does take this lightly, but look at this wonderful opportunity, like you said, using KARE as a tool, as a resource to find someone who fits culturally, loves your residents. I mean, it's a win-win scenario. And then let's backtrack a little bit just to kind of go over a couple points that you made earlier. You're not buying out a contract. You've set the rate. You're not overextending yourself because let's be honest, we know budgets are tight. We've had so many episodes talking about, yes, let's raise pay for our caregivers. Yes, yes, yes. Obviously, we're advocates for that. It's the hardest job out there, and it's so important. But you also can't it's still a business, right? Like, and you can't overextend yourself. So,
I mean, you're having them, before you bring them into your family, let them meet your parents first. I mean, have them come in for a day, have them work a hard day, like a hard shift that will weed them out. And I mean, so try to imagine this recruiting process. You get to KARE. You have them, or they get to you. They interview with you, and then you say, "Hey, well, we'd like you to work a few shifts with KARE." And so then they get to KARE. They do the whole thing, all the stuff to get like the background. They do this, they do that, they do background, whatever specific background things that you need for your state. They do their drug test. They do all of the stuff. Then they become heroes. Then they apply to work for your community, and you say, "Hey, we're going to have you work Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week." You see how they do. You're able to get feedback from the floor before they hit the floor. You know how many times I heard somebody call me and say, "Did you really hire this person?" And I say, "Look, I didn't hire them. I'm just a recruiter. Like, I interviewed them. You're hiring. You get to talk to them." But like, they're like, "This person is a mess. How are they working on this floor?" I'm like, "Well, they looked really good in interviews. They looked really," and then so you go on a few dates. You check them out. They meet your family. Your family says, and then you say, "Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure." They've worked. They got paid. You in this relationship. You didn't lose anything, but you had help. You had help too. Like, even if they weren't a good fit for your culture, you still had help when you needed it.
Yeah, and then, let's not gloss over that either. With, like you just said, I mean, it's a staffing crisis. Right?
Why have an open role that's sitting there, open, an open FTE without anyone filling it, and you're still interviewing 50 candidates, and you're like, "Oh God, it's hard to find these people."
Right. So wait, so Jordan, I want to back up a little bit. I want to go back to Lanier Village. I want to talk about Paige a little bit. I want to talk about some of the feedback maybe that you guys got from her. And I know, again, people can read more about this in the link that we've posted in the comments, but tell me a little bit more about this story. I mean, three, that's not insignificant. She hired three people.
No, it's not. And she went in and just solved she first was looking to fill shifts, fill open shifts in her community, and she had them work, and they loved it. They loved it there too. Like, that's also the beautiful thing of it is they loved it too. They loved being in her community, and it was a great opportunity to just connect to people. And again, we're just an app for posting shifts. We never really, we don't have those contract buyouts. So we do see this as a way to use this tool, but we encourage people to hire people. And we encourage people to also just post shifts and use it as a way to collect your PRN staff. It's all, it was a great tool, but she's not the only one. We have a lot of people doing this. And a lot of people just say how easy it is to post shifts, how awesome it is to have people come in and try out their community. It's, yeah.
That's awesome. So again, let's go back to the model of care. So one, the community that's using you, do they pay KARE anything to use KARE to post their shifts?
No, it's free to come in and post your shift.
Okay.
Like, it's completely free to post your shift. Yeah. You can go on a date. You can go on a date with someone for free. It's basically Tinder for staffing.
And with inflation,
who's charging you to go on a date with someone you like, or to see if you like them anyway?
I love it. I love it. I love that we're using this dating model, because again, you don't want to marry someone you don't really know or even know what they look like. You don't want to hire someone who you don't really know. And I think that's so key. And I love, again, Jordan, that you're bringing up this point of a community is a family. You see these people day after day. You take care of these residents day after day. And I think that's the perfect way of putting it. You don't want someone coming into your family who you don't know, you don't respect, you don't think cares.
Well, I call it a dating model, but what I love about the article is it calls it a try before you buy model. And to use another analogy, although the dating one is just so good, like it's just so good. You don't try on clothes. You don't buy clothes before you try them on. Like that's why most clothing stores have a dressing room. You go try on the clothes. You see if they work. You see if it makes your community look good before you bring this person on full time.
Yeah.
And so this is what one of the KARE Heroes said, that Lanier Village Estates is a great community with many long-term employees who are team players. And that is why I applied for a permanent position. They are welcoming and provided me with the flexibility I needed. And that's it's funny, as we talk about that a bunch. Yeah. That flexibility is a really important thing for our care force, and it is a big value of theirs.
Absolutely. And these reviews that you're talking about too, Jordan, now the KARE Heroes can also see these on the app about the community. And so again, using all these different kind of app analogies, it's like Yelp for a community. Like, you just read that review. So if I'm going into a community, or if I'm looking at a community to pick up a shift at, and I see, oh, like, this was terrible, staff didn't fill me in on anything, this was a rough situation, they are a mess over there, don't work there, then I'm okay, well, that's a wrap. So other KARE Heroes can see these reviews, right?
Yes, they can see the ratings of the communities as well. But hold on one second, I need to find a pen, because a dating app for where you can see reviews, I want to write that idea down.
Nobody steal that intellectual property. It's right
here. That's right here. We all on this show, we saw me say dating app with reviews, because who wouldn't love to see how many other people thought this guy was weird before.
Trash.
This guy was trash. Oh my gosh, all these people said that too. Could have saved yourself some time. But also communities can see those reviews as well for our heroes. So they could see if this person has a low star rating or a low or they're not reliable. They can see all of these things about the community, and it's mutual. Like if we don't think you're good, if you don't think we're good, we just will keep our separate ways. But also if we have a mutual respect for each other, then we can work together.
Absolutely. And the other thing I love about this try before you buy model is I think we often gloss over the fact that hiring someone is an investment. It's a huge investment. Let's go back to the investment of your time to meet with this person. Our time is our most valuable asset, always, because there's only so many things we want to do in a day, but there's only so much time, right? So let's talk about the investment that goes into this. So yeah, you do want to try before you're permanently like, hey, I'm bringing this person on to work and be a part of my community.
As the song says, it's cheaper to keep her. And it definitely is when it comes to our staff. I mean, it's you don't have to pay child support, but it is cheaper. It's still cheaper to keep her.
Oh, I can't. That was good. You got. I think I'm done. Do we just close the show?
No, this has been Kare-ing Conversations.
No, okay. So I want to back us up. I had to take that in. Oh, cry laughing over here. But no, again, it is important to realize that you want to keep your staff, you want to cultivate and create a great community, and you want to make the right investment. And again, I think it comes back to, this is where KARE is different from a staffing agency. And that's why you guys have that funny saying that those ridiculous billboards of, staffing agencies suck. You guys are an incredible tool and a great resource. And I think that's the biggest point that we wanted to make this episode again. It's not an infomercial about KARE, but we want to open up eyes to.
So yeah, we just want to open up your opportunities to solve your immediate crisis so that you can really find people to join your family, because that's what your staff is. That's what your residents are. That's what the vendors who serve your community are. They're your family, and you want to have good people working in your family. So yeah, this has been a really great infomercial on if you sign up today, you get 3 easy payments of $5.99
at checkout. No, we are clearly kidding.
Yeah, this is not an infomercial. This is actually, what's funny is I had an interesting, this is a stupid side story. Stop me if you've heard this one. So recently I was in one place and another, and I needed my keys. It was at home, and I was near my car that was elsewhere. And I didn't know that you could Uber packages. So I Ubered my keys to myself. Yeah, like I had someone go and pick up my keys and then drive them to me. And so I found that to be fascinating. I didn't know, and Uber never advertised that to me. And the same thing with KARE. It's like, imagine your staffing solution being your recruiting partner. It's not, it's a tool, it's a way of using a tool that we encourage you to try out. We love it, and we want to hear more of these stories about people doing so. It is an amazing way of using a tool. No one thought about using hammers to kill cockroaches, but that's how you do that too. And so there's all ways to use different tools. And this is another great story of how someone has used KARE to really be a partner during these trying times.
Absolutely. I love that. And as we wrap up here, I just want to, put out a call to action. If anyone has any similar stories to their relationship with care, drop them in the comments. We want to interact with y'all. We want to hear these stories. And again, the point of this episode was really to just say, hey, use care as a tool. It's not an infomercial, but just sort of, again, opening up eyes to what a resource care can be. And also encourage you to not do blind dating. So
yeah, no more blind dating.
Please don't. No more blind hiring.
Yeah. No more blind hiring. Whoa.
New tag, Charles Turner, let us know.
No more blind hiring. All right. Well, this has been an amazing episode.
This was fun. I've enjoyed chatting with you. I'm Rachel Hill with Foresight.
I'm Jordan Evans with CARE.
We'll see you streaming every Wednesday on the Foresight LinkedIn page, YouTube channel, of course. Head over to CARE's website, their LinkedIn, and you can catch up on all of our past episodes. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.